Hello and welcome to Sports Mole's Reader Awards for the 2017-18 season. We're here to discuss your championship game of the season. Barney, there's obviously a lot of goals in there, a lot of good games in the second tier this season. What ones particularly stand out for you?
Yeah, there were a lot of eye-catching ones. You think Bristol City 5, Hull 5. Any game with 10 goals is gonna make headlines. I think one for me which stands out, last game of the season, Bolton 3, Nottingham Forest 2. The drama that went through the whole day, the ways the scoring went. Burton thought they were ahead. Bolton went ahead in that match, which would have kept them up, and then Forest came back 2 goals in quick succession, I think it was, to go 2-1 up, and then Bolton come back 87th and 88th minute to stay in the division. I mean, you can't really write that for a team like Bolton to score 2 goals in the final 3 minutes of normal time to stay in the division. It's an incredible result for them. So that one stands out for the drama and how much was resting on the game, which I think more so than any other game in this list, apart from maybe the Cardiff Wolves one, which was a big battle at the top of the table. Obviously the lowest score in the list, 1-0 Wolves in the end, but the way that finished was an incredible finale to that game. I think you're going to talk about it a little bit more later on, but the fact seeing a 1-0 in the game of the season list, it tells you everything you need to know about it. A lot of games with a lot of goals, 4-3s. There's so many games where there were a flurry of goals in the last minute which either changed the result or they came from a draw and they got a goal back. Leeds 3, Millwall 1. Leeds had 10 men for more than half that game, got back to 3-3 in the 87th minute, and then Millwall won it in the 92nd minute. Bristol City coming back from 3-0 down against Sunderland. Other way around, so it's Sunderland coming from 3-0 down against Bristol City. Always going to make one of the games of the season a comeback like that. There's so many big candidates for that one, but the one that stands out for me, just for the gravity of how important the result was on that final day, Bolton against Forest.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think there's Hull involved in a lot of those, aren't they? Obviously, the team that went down last season, the 4-3 Norwich game. Remember that won 4 penalties in the game. Quite dramatic. Obviously involved, like you mentioned, in the 5-5 as well, and 2-3 with Bristol City. Bristol City scoring 3 times in the last 20 minutes to win. Obviously, Leonard Slutsky left a week later after that, so it was, to prove that to be a significant result. But yeah, I think the Cardiff Wolves one, I think it was the dramatic finale, wasn't it, where Cardiff missed 2 stoppage time penalties, one of which John Ruddy saved, and Hoylett hit the crossbar, and Wolves went 9 points clear as a result of picking up that. And I think it was after the game as well, wasn't it? Neil Warnock wasn't overly pleased with Nuno. They had a bit of an argument, and I think both of them can understand, because it was such a big game. I know they both went up in the end, but Wolves, that was really like, we're going to win the league. We've really taken a big step here. So, like I said, it's surprised to see a 1-0 in there in a category that's dominated by goals, but very interesting. Should we have a look, see who's come out on top in this one?
Okay, so that Cardiff Wolves game comes in 5th with 7.8%. Perhaps not surprising considering there's only 1 goal. 4th, interesting, is Bolton 3, Forest 2 on the final day. 3rd is the Hull 4, Norwich 3 with 10.8% of the vote. 2nd is Sheffield United 4, Fulham 5, 19.9% of the vote. And the highest scoring one first, Bristol City 5, Hull 5 with 38.1% of the votes.
I think it's the two highest scoring games, number 1 and 2. So does that surprise you, or do you think?
It doesn't surprise me. A lot of goals always make for a very exciting game. I think that Bristol City Hull game, there's 3 goals from the 80th minute onwards to take it from 4-3 in one way to 5-4 the other, and then back to 5-all. Incredible game. As I mentioned, any game with 10 goals in is going to be a very good game. So it's no surprise to see that one top. I'm quite surprised to see Bolton Forest in 4th, because, as I mentioned, the amount riding on that game I think was bigger than any other game on the list. But for just pure entertainment value, you can't argue with a 5-all draw, can you?
No, it was a very good game. So your championship game this season is Bristol City 5, Hull 5.